There's a popular belief that muscle turns into fat and fat can turn into muscle. So there are people who worry, clients worry. They say to me, Tom, if I put on too much muscle, if I don't sustain it later on down the line, does that mean it's going to turn to fat? Or vice versa, and they think if I bulk up, if I eat a lot of calories, eat a lot of food, and get a little bit bigger, can I take that fat and transform it into muscle? Well, to use that and to describe this to you, I'm going to use a very helpful tool which actually made a lot of sense to me when it was described to me. Now, I've got a very lovely chicken. Don't worry, we're not going to use the whole thing. It is my lunch. And what I'm going to show you is very simple. You have the chicken breast and the skin. Now, when you look at normal chicken, the chicken breast is muscle. The chicken breast is the part of the chicken that we're all going to eat. It's the protein. It's the stuff that's all good for us. The fat on the chicken is the skin. So when someone's saying, "Oh, fat's going to turn into muscle," or "muscle's going to turn into fat," it's exactly the same as saying chicken breast is going to turn into chicken skin, or chicken skin is going to turn into chicken breast. Now, what happens, because some people see these big bodybuilders when young in their career, when they're muscular, they're looking really good. And then years later, they see that they've lost their muscle and instead are now fat or overweight. It's a really interesting thing, especially if you are a man after the age of 30 or a woman after the age of 28. Because what starts to happen is we start to leave our physical prime. That's when our bodies are not creating cells like they used to. And we actually start to decrease in size in general. So if you are someone who is not doing any strength training or resistance training activities to keep that muscle, what's going to happen after the age of 30, every decade you are most likely going to lose up to 5 pounds of muscle each decade. However, it doesn't happen so quick that we can make adjustments for it as soon as we notice. It happens slower and slower and it builds up over time. So by the time you reach 40, 50, you're looking at a 5 to 10 pound muscle loss. Sometimes it can be more depending on your job. So if you're more physically active, you can probably keep it a little bit longer. If you are more desk or office based, you're probably going to lose it a little bit faster. So what happens? Why is that confusion about the fat thing coming into play? Well, because we're losing muscle at such a steady rate, we're not adjusting our lifestyle habits. So we're still eating the same amounts of food. We're still drinking the same sorts of alcoholic drinks on multiple nights. And what happens is we now have less muscle to burn those calories. So as those calories start stacking up, it starts getting stored as fat. So in our bodies, it will be under the skin. We start developing a layer of fat between the muscle and the skin. So all that extra space that was there for muscle beforehand is now just being filled with fat unless you adjust your lifestyle or you work really hard to keep that muscle that you've created. So what about the other way? Why does it seem like you are gaining muscle really quickly? If you're quite a bigger person, if you've had a bit of fat before, well, what tends to happen there is muscle is very smart. It has muscle memory, which means if you've had a lot of muscle in the past, or if you even had just more than you currently have right now, it's going to your muscle and your body is going to respond much, much faster to recreate what it just had. Building on new muscle on top of that takes a little bit longer, but you can really quickly get back the muscle you've lost. And so once that muscle's back to full size or is more active, what's going to happen is it's going to start burning those extra calories that have been hidden underneath the skin in between the fat crevice. And so that is why it always looks like people can turn their fat into muscle and muscle into fat. I hope this has been useful. I hope you've enjoyed it. Like, comment, or ask any questions you have. And now I'm going to go and enjoy my lunch before I decapitate it anymore.